You know, business, it's literally the engine that runs everything. It takes a simple idea and turns it into the phone you're holding, or the package that shows up at your door. It's kind of this invisible machine that powers our entire world.
So have you ever stopped to wonder how that machine really works? Like, how do giants like Apple or Amazon actually get built from the ground up? Well, if you have, you are in exactly the right place.
Because, and you might not believe this, it turns out that every single business, I'm talking from your neighborhood coffee shop all the way up to the biggest corporations on the planet, they all run on one single foundational rule.
Okay, let's get into it. This is the bedrock, the absolute fundamental truth of all commerce. Everything we're going to talk about, everything in the business world, it all comes back to this one simple idea.
All right, here it is. Revenue minus costs equals profit. That's it. Revenue is all the cash coming in. Costs, that's all the cash going out. And the profit, well, that's the good stuff you actually get to keep. Because, let's be real, without profit, a business isn't really a business, it's just an expensive hobby. This little equation, it is everything.
All right, so let's dive into the first piece of that puzzle, revenue. You'll hear people call this the top line. It's pretty straightforward. It's just the total amount of money a company brings in from sales before a single penny in expenses gets taken out. So the big question is, how do they get that money? Well, the way you and I see most often is what's called B2C, or business to consumer. I mean, this is our everyday life, right? It's basically any company that sells stuff directly to, well, us, the people who actually use it.
I mean, just think about your day. When Apple sells you a new iPhone, that's B2C. When Amazon drops a package on your doorstep, B2C. When you're binge-watching Netflix, yep, you guessed it, B2C. These are all classic examples. The whole game here is about making sales happen fast, and that means you need really strong branding and marketing to pull people in.
Okay, but then there's the other side of the coin, B2B, which stands for business to business. Now, this is a huge, often kind of invisible part of the economy where the customers are other companies. And we're talking way bigger price tags here and a sales process that can take months, sometimes even years to close a deal.
So, for instance, you're probably not buying software from Salesforce for your personal laptop, but I bet the company you work for does. You're not personally buying a jet engine, right? But Boeing sells tons of them to airlines. This is where those massive, multi-million-dollar deals go down.
And that brings us to one of the most powerful business models out there today, the subscription. It's a total game changer. Instead of selling something just once, you get customers to pay a recurring fee. And what's so great about that? It gives the company this beautiful, predictable stream of cash. They pretty much know how much money is going to hit their bank account every single month. And if you want proof of just how powerful this is, get this. Over the last 10 years, subscription businesses grew 5 times faster than the average company on the S&P 500. I mean, 5 times. That's not just an advantage, that's a whole different league.
All right, so revenue is the fun, flashy part. But costs are what decide if a business actually makes it or not. I mean, bringing in $1 billion sounds great, but it means absolutely nothing if you had to spend $2 billion to get it. So the really crucial part is figuring out where is all that money going.
So, you can usually break costs down into 2 main buckets. The first one is called cost of goods sold, or COGS for short. Think of this as the direct cost of making the thing you sell. You know, the actual ingredients in a pizza, or the microchips in a phone. And then you've got the second bucket, operating expenses, or OPEX. This is, well, it's pretty much everything else. Rent for your office, salaries for your employees, your marketing budget. These are the bills you have to pay every month, even if you don't sell a single thing.
And this is exactly how we get to what everyone calls the bottom line. It's like a funnel. You start with all your revenue at the top. First, you subtract those direct costs of goods sold, and what's left is your gross profit. Okay. Next, you subtract all those operating expenses, and now you have your operating profit. Finally, after the government takes its cut in taxes, whatever is left over, that is your net profit. And that's the number that really tells you if you're winning.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Just look at how different this plays out in the real world. For every $100 Apple makes in sales, they get to keep about $24 in pure profit. Amazon, for every $100 they sell, they only keep about $5. So how on earth can two of the biggest, most successful companies in the world have such crazy different numbers? Hold that thought. We're going to come right back to it.
Okay, look, you can have the most amazing product ever, and you could be a genius at keeping your costs low,
But none of that matters if nobody is actually buying your stuff. So, how do you get customers? This right here is the true engine of growth.
And for growth to be sustainable, there's this kind of golden rule. The idea is that the total value a customer brings you over their entire lifetime with your company, that's called lifetime value, or LTV, it needs to be at least 3 times bigger than what you spent to get that customer in the first place, which is called your customer acquisition cost, or CAC. So, super simple. If you spend $50 on ads to get 1 new customer, that customer better be worth at least $150 to you over time. If not, you're losing money.
And let me tell you about a legendary example of getting that CAC number super low. Remember Dollar Shave Club? Back in 2012, they made this simple, absolutely hilarious video to launch their company. And the total cost to make it? A measly $4,500. And the result was just insane. The video went completely viral. They signed up 12,000 new paying customers in just 48 hours. I mean, talk about an efficient way to get customers. That one video literally put them on the map overnight and set them on the path to being bought for $1 billion.
Okay, so let's bring this all full circle. Remember that question about Apple and Amazon? Let's go back to those two giants. Because they both have to follow the exact same rules we've just been talking about. But the way they play the game is completely different.
I mean, just look at the tail of the tape here. Amazon's revenue is way bigger. We're talking over $500 billion. But Apple's actual profit is more than 3 times higher. So what gives? It all comes down to their core strategy. Apple's whole playbook is about selling premium products with huge profit margins. Amazon's playbook, it's all about selling tons of stuff with razor-thin margins, but at an absolutely massive global scale.
And that right there is the fundamental difference. You can think of Apple as a machine engineered to spit out as much cash profit as possible. Amazon, on the other hand, is a machine built for one thing: growth. For decades, Jeff Bezos famously poured almost every single dollar they made right back into the business, building more warehouses, inventing new tech, just getting bigger and bigger. So you've got 2 totally different philosophies, but they're both playing the exact same game.
So when you boil it all down, what are the big takeaways here? First, at its core, all business is just that one simple equation. Revenue minus costs equals profit. That's it. Second, your business model, whether it's B2C, B2B, or subscriptions, is just your game plan for how you get that revenue. Third, those profit margins, that's like the ultimate report card for how healthy a business is. And finally, the biggest companies on earth don't have some secret formula. They're just applying these exact same rules, but at a scale that's almost impossible to wrap your head around.
So you see, business isn't some kind of dark art or impenetrable magic. It's really just a machine. A machine with a pretty clear set of instructions. It's all about creating value, keeping an eye on your costs, and finding people who want what you've got. Now that you can see the blueprint, it really makes you think, doesn't it? What would you build?